Hello friends and welcome to We Love Code YouTube channel, and in this video we are going back to the application we made last time. As you can see, it is this cute to-do list. We made it using Angular 20 and Signals, and this time we are going to refactor it a bit. Last time we made this simple service that uses signals, and it is connected into our components. Here is where the main logic of the application is and where our data are. But in this video, we want to refactor this. We want to remove this service and we want to use instead modern library NgRx Signals. But before we do that, I would like to explain to us few concepts first. So let's first talk about again what are signals. We will just quickly say the definition. And a signal is a wrapper around a value that notifies interested consumers when that value changes. Basically, you can think of it as reactive value. When the value inside signal changes, wherever there it is used, it will be notified and you can react on it. And this is a concept that has been introduced into Angular 16. What is NgRx Signals? Well, actually, it's a modern library that combines the old Redux pattern adapted for Angular, NgRx Store, NgRx effects, and so on, but uses signals instead. Why is it important? Let's say you have 5 components. Let's say you have 5 components. We can draw it in Paint. You will have 5 components. Component 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you want to share data between those components. Of course, you can do it by moving data from component 1 to component 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course, you can move events back from component 5 to 4, 3, 2, 1. But as you can see, this brings all kinds of problems and difficulties. It's not the best way to do it, you know. That's why there is something called state management. You can have one place where you have all your data, and that place shares those data into components. It's much more efficient, much more manageable, and it's better design pattern. And you can do it in various ways. We did it actually in last video. We use this service for our data and we share those data in different components. As you can see, to-do stats injects to-do service and it uses stats there. To-do list the same way, and so on. But there are better ways to do it, and here comes NgRx pattern. In old ways, maybe you have experience, maybe you don't. There is a NgRx store pattern. Here you can see diagram how it works. You have a component which accesses selector. If we want to get to store, store is where our data are, you know. And when we fire action, there is something called reducer that reacts on that action and it saves and updates our data. On action, we can also react by having special effects, for example, for some API calls that you will use another service and access data from server. This is a basic design of typical NgRx state management lifecycle. But with NgRx Signals, it's much more light. It doesn't have all these. Of course, there are also events where you can do something similar like here, but we will now go into this in this video. We will just focus on basic NgRx signals and what it can offer for us. And you will see how you can create quite easy, manageable state management for your application. So we will use NgRx Signals and we can begin right now. So let's continue with installation of NgRx Signals. So to do that, we will use ng command. We will just copy this command and use it inside of our application. We will open new bash and just paste it and press enter. We will say yes, we want to install it, and we will wait a bit and it's done. As you can see in our package.json, we have new NgRx signals. And later we will need to import it into our components. But now, right now, it's enough and we can proceed to create first our store. Let's do it. What we want to do, we want to take logic from this service and implement it for NgRx Signal Store. But first we want to create new folder. We will name it store. This is how it is usually named. Inside we will make new file to-do.store.ts. And here we will start writing our logic. So let's now just observe what was in our to-do service. We have here two signals, to-dos and filter. Then we have two derived signals, filtered to-dos and stats. We will need to reflect this data in our to-do store file. And we will start by creating interface. So let's do it. Let's create interface to-do state. And inside of this interface, we want to add the two signals we saw before. So it will be to-dos and filter, just like that. We will just import our models here, and that's it. This is what you need to do every time when you work with NgRx or NgRx signals. We need to create our interface and also our initial state. So let's continue and create our initial state. And we will just populate it with initial data like that. So we will start with empty array to-dos and we will continue with filter set to all. Right now comes something more interesting. We need to create our store basically, where we will use different methods that NgRx signals provide for us. So let's do it. Let's write like what AI shows me. It's correct, but it's not exactly correct. Let's do it this way. And inside of this function, we will have different methods. But first method will be withState, where we will put our initial state. We need to, of course, import our methods here. As for some reason, even though I installed it, it doesn't see it, but it doesn't matter. We will add it anyway. Let's just import it manually. Like that. Now we have created our store basically, and at this point it is already functionable but we cannot do anything with it. We don't have any methods there. We need to implement, we need to be able to implement all the methods we have here later. And we can do it pretty easily. So let's follow and do it right now. Right now we have our state, but we need to be able also to change it. And for that, NgRx provide for us additional methods. One of them is called withMethods, and this is where we are able to write our methods that will be accessible later, just like they were in our service before. We need to, of course, import it, and here we have to make additional changes because this is not how we want to do things. So we need to implement this add to do method we had in our service. Let's create first to do a new const where we generate again a random ID. We set title, we have here in a parameter, and we set the default values for completed and created at. And now we have to save it. And for that there is a special function, withState, that accepts store instance as a first parameter, and then we did just change whatever property we need from our to-do state. Here in this case to-dos, we will use spread operator and we will add new to-do we have created right there. This is how simple it is, and we might continue. We will again create another remove to-do where we accept ID. This will be very simple logic. We will just again use withState, and inside we will filter and we will return everything except of that value that has this ID, so we will remove it technically. And now another for rename, it's accepts two parameters where we will go again use withState like that, and map, and we will change the name that is equal to our ID, and we will use title to it. We use spread operator here too, and we can continue and implement other methods. Toggle to do, where we define our checked button. We need to be able to check it when it's completed. We also will use withState, we will use it everywhere, and we will map, and again where we find our row by ID, we will just change boolean to do completed to opposite value. Very simple, very easy. This is how we can simply implement our methods that we had before. We can check it if they are the same. I think yes, because I think it was AI who basically helped us now, because it understands what was in our service. But yeah, we had here rename to do, remove, toggle to do. It's the same logic we had before, and we might continue to next section. Let's continue. We have our state, our methods, and I think we should add on the second withComputed. As you can remember, we had computed derived signals right here, two of them, and we will implement it the same way into our to-do store. We will just use it like that. We need to import withComputed. We need to import, or actually we will not write it this way. We will have different syntax here. So we need first write the name of to do, which will be computed to do, which will be filtered to do's. In this case, we don't need to write call computer function, because it will be already applied, since this is inside method withComputed. So we will write it this way, And inside it, we will again do the same logic that we had before in our service. We might go as well here, look and copy it. We don't need to change it right now. So we can paste it here like that. But we need to change it a bit. So instead of calling this filter, we will call store, which is here the instance accessible to us, where we have access to our state. Here we can call filter and we can call to-dos like that. And this is our filter to-dos computed derived signal. The same we can do for stats. As you can see, AI is very smart. He understands what we want to do next. So here we have our two computed derived signals that we had previously here as in a service, but we have it now using NgRx signalStore. We have withComputed, withMethods, and we can continue for the next section. Our last section will be more interesting. Let's now review what we have done. We have here state, which contains to-dos, and filter, which previously were two signals. It is like that here too. And we have our computed signals here, and we have our methods here. We can add, we can remove, rename, toggle, and so on. But if we look into our to-do service, we also had additional stuff here. We have here load method from our local storage, and we have here effect that anytime something changed, it was saved into local storage. How we can do it right now? We can do it, but first we need to create special function. We will create new function here that we had previously in that service. So it will be function that will be responsible for loading our data from local storage. I've already prepared it. I will just copy it right here. We have function load from local storage. I will just shortly comment it. It will return to do object as an array. And here we will load data from local storage using this key. If we find nothing, we will return empty array. And then if we find something, we will parse it, and we will parse it as a type of to-do and return. If something went wrong, we will return empty array. And now we will use this function, and where we will use it, that's correct, the same way we did it here in the service. We did it when we initialized. So we will do the same thing here. When we go into our initial state, I will just use load from storage right here. So at the beginning, first thing it will do, it will load the items that will be stored. But we now will need to be able to save it also. And here comes time for another special method that is given to us by NgRx Signals. That is very useful. We will use withHooks. We have special hooks, special events that happen through the NgRx signal lifecycle. And especially, similarly as for components, we have here on init. We will use, but first import it. We will import it, and we will use on init like that. And inside on init hook, we want to be able to react on our signals. This is where effect come in, like we used it in a service before. Effect will be called anytime some change will happen in our store, which uses signal. And we will be able to access the to-dos here. So we have our to-dos, and now we can save them into local storage. And I think we need to again put more brackets here, like that. Like that. And now, since I think we are pretty much finished right here, and we can start by implementing it into our components. Continue. So let's do it. So let's now implement our store into our components. Let's go into to-do stats, and instead of using this service, which we can remove now, and we can delete import, we can now inject not to-do service, but we can import to-do store like that. We need to again inject here. For some reason it doesn't see it. I cannot import it. Let's go and see what's the problem. Oh, let's put it like that. It was a wrong name. It wasn't capital, the first letter. So now it should be able to work. Yeah, now it's working. So we have to-do store, and we will just change it here, and we will be able to access the stats the same way. Now it's finished. We can go and move from stats into the list. There will be more stuff there. Let's import our store again. And let's change this. It should be to-do store instead of to-do service, to use to-do store. And instead of to-do service right here, we have access to our methods in our to-do store. Like that. So we can now remove our service here. We can remove our import, and now it has been changed to work with our NgRx Signals store. Let's go to the filter. Let's check if everything is okay in our template. Yes, it is. Let's go to the filter. The same thing here. Import. We can change it here. And remove unused. Oh, as you can see, before we have accessed the signal variable, and if we have set it by using set, we cannot do it right now like that. So we need to implement method for that. Set filter, and we will do it the same way here. Of course, I have not implemented set filter, as I can see. I forgot about it. You can go to to-do store, find withMethods, and just add set filter here. Thank you, AI. And now we can apply it here, and it will be working. We can import it like that. Go here and refactor it here. AI always makes everything so much more faster. And that's now it will call this method. This calls our store method, and this is it basically. And the last component is to do add component. Let's do the same thing here. Import it, remove it, and change it. And that's about it. We can start our application again and see if everything works as it's supposed to be. Oh, we see some problems here. Let's go. self filter doesn't exist, it happens when we didn't save it. Now it's okay. So we can go back to our application. As we can see, there is some problem. No provided signal store. Of course, we need to provide it. Where we will provide it? On the place where all our components. Oh, I have already started provided it here. I just didn't implement everything. Now we have put our store into providers in the root component, and because of that it will be available everywhere. As you can see, we can see it right now. We can add new things. And it is working as it's supposed to be. We can filter stuff, we can check it, everything works as it was, but now we are using Todo Store NgRx Signal package. So this is how you can do it. And trust me, in bigger applications, it is better way to do it than to have just simple to-do service, which is okay too, and it is also type of state management, more simple one. But with larger projects, you will come and work with NgRx in classical sense or in modern NgRx signal sense, which is better and more consistent with our modern Angular application because of the signals that we are using. And now we will just finish it. As you can see, we are using here some types. That's not correct. We will extract it because we want to delete this and completely finish with our application. And we can just put it next to our to-do model. We will just make sure it is implemented everywhere we need, and we now can delete it. It will scream now, of course, because we use it somewhere. Yeah, we just need to change our imports everywhere, and it will be basically finished. It will be very quick fix. I think it is now okay. It doesn't scream and it's working. So we have deleted previous service, and now our to-do NgRx store is able to do every functionality that was in our service in more convenient, modern way. So this was for this application, how to use NgRx Signals practically. We have used all basic, let's say we have used all basic methods that come with it, with state. Where is our state that changes? We are changing it through methods that we have implemented. And we have here special hook that is what it's doing, has only one job, and it's to save our data into local storage whenever our signal is changed. So that's about it for this video. I hope you have enjoyed this. If you're interested into more deeper videos about NgRx Signals or classical NgRx, or if you have other questions or whatever, you can write in the comment section. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Subscribe to my channel and see you soon.